everyone. As you can tell, this is a Christmas Creepmas based video. I've compiled everything from putting my tree up with my mum, getting some Christmas deco, and all of the Christmassy fairs and things like that into this video, as well as telling you about the Creepmas books that I'm reading. December TBR. So December for me is about the cozy winter mysteries, and also rounding out the books that I currently still have on my TBR that I am not burnt out by. So I have started Bag of Bones, Neverwhere, and the Southern Books Club Guide to Slaying Vampires, but I'm just not in the mood for those books, so I've shelved those again and I'm just going to restart them either in 2024 or, well, yeah, hopefully in 2024. But essentially I am trying to round out as much as possible, read some cozy mysteries, and just enjoy this season. So the first book that I want to read in December is Road of Bones by Christopher Golden. So I believe this is set in Siberia, in Russia, during obviously Siberia is cold, so it's very wintry, and it's like a road trip, a massive graveyard for the Soviet Union. So I'm intrigued to read this. I don't want to read too much of the synopsis. I just want to go in blind and enjoy it, because Siberia, Russian stories and winter horror is just my favorite thing. So I don't want to read too much about this. The next one is Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. So this one is a rollover for me. I was supposed to read this in November, but I never started it, so I am rolling it over into December. It's not a December book, it's not a winter horror, it's just something that I want to read before the end of the year. So I am trying to read a lot more horror classics that define the genre that I probably missed whilst reading. So this is one of those. So yeah, I want to read this and start making that video. So the next one is Murder at Theatre Royale by Ada Moncrief. Really sorry if that's not how you pronounce that surname, but this is a Christmas book, so this one is probably one I pick up in the middle of December, getting into that festive feel. And this is a murder mystery type story set around Christmas, and at this theatre they are running a production for a Christmas Carol. Murder happens and they try to solve it. So this is like a Agatha Christie type story. At least that's how I'm going into it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this is about. I would also really love to finish Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. This one is something that I have started. I have a copy on NetGalley, and I'm only about 30% of the way through that book. So again, it's not a Christmas based book, but it is one that I'm trying to read to round out the year. And then finally, the last book that I have is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. So this story again is a winter based book. I think it leans more mystery than horror, but I'm not entirely sure. I am going to be trying my best to read these throughout the month. Let me know as well in the comments what you're planning to read in December. Okay, so now it's time for me to tell you about the Creepmas books that I've read. So I am currently reading Christmas and Other Horrors, the short story collection, which has a lot of my favourite authors in there. So I knew I had to read it. So I do have that on my script. I was so happy to find that it was an ebook on there. So I am currently e-reading that. I am 3 stories in. I've just finished The Castle by Alma Katsu. Currently, each story has been so different from each other, and they still had that Christmassy, like winter solstice vibe, and they've been really creepy. The first story was incredible. It was so dark and twisted that I really loved it, and it was by Christopher Golden. And it makes me really excited because I do have another Christopher Golden book on my TBR, which I'm probably going to start at the end of this week. So I do have like a lot more stories to read in that book. It's going to take me a long time. I am reading 1 short story a day in that collection. And obviously I'm only 3, and I think there's like 18 stories. So I do have a bit left to go. So it's going to take me a little while to get through that book. The other one that I have just finished is The 12 Days of Christmas Horror by Rick Wood. So this one was so dark. I absolutely loved it. It was like Christmas hell, like murderous Santa Claus, cannibals, Krampus in there as well. There was so many incredible short stories in this, and I was just loving it. It was dark, and it made Christmas feel like a horror story. So yeah, incredible. The Fucked Up Fairy was probably my favourite story. It's a fairy who wants revenge for being sat on the top of the Christmas tree in this family's house for generations. And yeah, you get to learn in the mind of the fairy and its killing spree that it goes on. So it was really interesting and really loved that story. Tracking Santa as well, that story was incredible. It was about this app that you can track Santa on, which turned dark. So obviously it wouldn't be in this Christmas horror if it didn't turn dark. Each story was different and very creepy. I have finished Dead of Winter, so that story for me was a little bit odd. Really loved the setting in it and how she was describing it. It was very gripping, but also lacked in the storytelling in a way, and the fact that the twist came and it wasn't something that I enjoyed. The twist at the end was not something that I was really hoping would happen. To find out who the killer was, and it ended in a weird way for me. I did enjoy how she was writing the setting. Basically, I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but it's about a tour group who gets stranded, it's about a tour group who gets stranded, and they have to kind of survive staying in this like cabin area during winter, and the snowstorm makes them lose connection, and there's a killer, and then they have to work together. There's a bunch of strangers having to work together to survive and get out of this situation. and get to safety. And that's essentially it in a nutshell. It does have a lot of similarities to other winter survival stories that I've read, winter like thrillers. So there is that, and I feel like it didn't offer anything new. It wasn't bad. I still give it an average rating around a 3. I enjoyed reading it, but wasn't one that I really loved and wanted to jump and read again. Because obviously once you know the ending, it's difficult to go back and reread thrillers. I think the next time I'll speak to you is maybe giving you an update on finishing Christmas and Other Horrors, hopefully, because if not, then this video is going out really late. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I can get some more stories read and I can tell you about those in the book. Maybe not completely finishing it, but currently I am only like a third of the way through. It's going to take me a little while to get through. But happy reading! Show you what I got. The first one is we got a new game for our games covered, and that is Psycho Killer, and I just love this. It's such a fun like card game. I'm so excited to play this. It's a strategy game based on the 80s and 90s slasher movies, and you have to play and see if you can survive. So I'm so looking forward to giving this game a shot. As a horror fanatic, I literally saw this and went, oh, I need to have this. So I'm so glad to have a horror game now on our game shelf and cannot wait to actually play this. It's going to be so much fun. So it says, lurking in the deck is a psycho killer, and the weapons he uses to attack you. You need to use every cliche in the book to screw over your friends and survive the night. With strategies that are quick to learn and are exciting to master. Psycho Killer is a cutthroat slasher disguised as a party game that will have your friends in stitches. Can you survive the Psycho Killer? Oh, so intrigued and really looking forward to playing this. So yeah, that will go on our shelf. Next up, we went to Forbidden Planet and we got some cute decorations. So yeah, I'm obviously going to just show you what I got, and it's not much. So we got a Santa Jack skeleton, and it's going to be going on my shelf over here for the Christmas period. I want this for a while. I love the Funko Pops, and I think we're both going to start collecting these. So you're probably going to see more of these appearing on my shelves at some point. I'm really hoping to get a Stephen King one and like set it right here. So really excited for that. And just look how cute he is. He's got like Christmas lights. Yeah, so he's got like Christmas lights. It's so cute. So next up, I got two things, but they're kind of the same thing. I got a mystery pack of like horror collectibles. So you have Pennywise, Lydia, Freddy Krueger, Regan from The Exorcist, Beetlejuice, Jason, Freddy, David, or another version of Jason, or one of the mystery ones. So I'm going to open these at some point soon, and I'm excited to see what I get. I'm really hoping that I can get Regan in this one because she looks so cute. This one. Really want to get that. So yeah, this is the haul from Forbidden Planet. that is the haul. So now I just want to tell you a little bit about some of the short stories that I've read from Christmas and Other Horrors. I do remember that I mentioned that I was reading this at the start of this video, but never really delved deep into the stories that I have read. I do remember that I mentioned that I've read a number of the stories at the beginning, but never really told you much about them. Currently, I've read 8 of the short stories. I'm almost halfway through, and currently my favourite has been The Importance of Keeping a Tidy House by Christopher Golden, and The Ones He Takes by Benjamin Percy. And then I've also enjoyed Return to Bear Creek Lodge by Tanaravi Dew. I need to learn how to pronounce this person's name because I'm reading a lot more from this author and I hate pronouncing things wrong. But those 3 have been my favourite reads from that collection so far. Essentially, The Importance of Keeping a Tidy House is based on this Austrian folklore tale about these little creatures that kind of come into your house, and if it's not tidy they will kill you. It is from Austrian folklore and it was so intense to read and incredible. It was a great first story in this collection. It was such a wild ride for me. It was twisty, dark and very descriptive. It was probably the best one that I've read. So The Ones He Takes was also up there as being one of the more twisted ones that we've read so far. It was dark, it was intense, and you really see Santa in a different way. So I really loved that, and yeah, I won't spoil too much about that story, but definitely go into it and read it because it's probably one of the better ones in this collection so far. And then also Return to Bear Creek Lodge. That one was so well written that the isolation that was discussed and this setting and how she addresses intergenerational trauma was very interesting, and I really loved that take throughout the story. It was such a great read, and yeah, it was surprisingly good. I really loved it, and yeah, those are probably one of the better reads out of this collection so far. I am reading The Ghost of Christmas Past by Richard Cadray. So that is the next one that I have to read. Then I will have completed like half of the book. So really looking forward to finally getting through this. I am reading it as an ebook, so it is taking me slightly longer to get through, but nevertheless, I'm loving all of the creepy, twisted Christmas, like Creepmas based stories. So yeah, really loving it. That is all I have to say so far. I will check back in when I've read more of those stories and to give you my overall thoughts on the book as a collection itself. Round out this video now. I have finished Christmas and Other Horrors. I don't have much more to add. Essentially, they were pretty good. The ones that I did mention before are still probably the better books in this collection. I would say The Importance of Keeping a Tidy House is probably the best one in this collection. So I have given the overall book a 3-star rating, simply because all 18 just weren't a hit for me. So with that, I have finished that book. And then in between, I did read the 3rd installment of the 12 Days of Christmas Horror by Rick Wood. So I read volumes 1, 2 and 3. Each time it just didn't deliver as much as the first one did for me. It was so dark and twisted, like I mentioned, and each time they kind of got lighter. But they're still enjoyable nonetheless. still very Christmassy, creepy, and overall dark and disturbing. So I've rounded out those, and I would say volume 1 is probably my favourite in this like series, but the other two were incredible to read as well. So I would highly suggest picking those ones up if you haven't read The 12 Days of Christmas Horror by Rick Wood. One morning I read a novella just before I started work. It was only an hour long on an audio, and it was called Snowball. And so this is like a story about a naughty elf on the shelf who gets revenge on the family. So this one I didn't enjoy as much as I was expecting to. The overall premise and the creep in this story was definitely good. I was reading it for that Christmas vibe and that Christmas festive feel, and it just didn't really have much of it in the actual story. I was let down slightly in that aspect because I wanted to have that dark festive feel, and this story just delivered a lot on the overall messaging and the gore and details in that sense. So they focus more on the horror than the festive feel. So those are all of the books for Creepmas that I have read this month, over the last 3 weeks. So yeah, I am probably going to lay off the Creepmas books. I've got 2 more I need to read this month. I need to finish Road of Bones by Christopher Golden, and also read Murder at the Theatre Royale. So that one's probably going to be a Christmas week read, and then I will be done for the year. Do let me know in the comments what book you are currently reading. Are you reading any Creepmas books? Do let me know down below. With that, I'm probably going to end out this video. I hope you enjoy the festive season, and I will catch you in the next one. So until next time, keep your pages turning and embrace the darkness. Bye!